In this episode, we're in Atlanta talking with Andrea Theo-John. She is an amazing meister who has a tool that you'd love to be using. And I want you to hear about it. Before we do that, though, I'd love for you to subscribe to our podcast, leave us a rating, give us a review. It helps when you can come behind us and tell us how we're doing as we try to add value and share with you some of the things that could help you to grow. So without further ado, folks, let's go right in and have a chat with Andrea Theo-John. Andrea, welcome to my show. How are you today?
I'm good, Ricardo. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Happy Friday. I don't think this podcast is going to be heard or aired on a Friday, but anyways, happy Friday. It's Friday and it's good to have you. It's really awesome to know that we can get someone out of the big city of Atlanta to be on our show today. So we're super excited about that. My audience doesn't know who you are, so we're going to get started and talk about who you are and what you do.
Thank you. Well, I'm Andrea Theo-John. I run the ADS agency, which is like spelled like ads, like advertising, which used to be cool. It used to flow with my initials, and now it doesn't, but I still like the name, so I'm keeping it.
Nice.
And yeah, we're a marketing and branding firm, a small boutique firm based out of Atlanta, and have been in business for 5 years. And before that, I did marketing director, branding director roles for various corporations my whole career. So everything before that, a good 15 years, was all with other corporations, some nonprofit, mostly corporations, and mostly on the B2B side, I would say. So and also how we met each other was through Atlanta Black Chamber. So with that organization, I currently chair their marketing communications, advertising, and tech committee. And through that, we run a lot of webinars for entrepreneurs in the area, trying to sharpen them up on branding and tech. And we also have a big conference typically in October called Brand Tech Day, where we do a lot of that all at once. And this year, hopefully, if it's COVID friendly, we'll get to do it all in person / virtual. So that's a bit about me and what I do.
That's awesome. And big shout out to Atlanta Black Chamber, of course. You don't have to be an Atlantean to be part of the Black Chamber. So just so you know that anywhere you are, you can be a part of the community. It's fantastic. That's my endorsement. But talk to us about how you got to this point. I mean, I know you spent pretty much all your time as a career-driven professional in marketing, but what made you switch to running your own business? Talk to us a little about that.
Yeah, you know what, Ricardo? I was not going to start my business back in my mid 30s. I was just in between roles and looking for my next thing. And I was new to Atlanta. And you know how you meet people and you have like little coffee chats with each other and that kind of thing. So people that I've been meeting, mostly in like the architecture, construction, engineering space, those people who I'd met and just did one-on-ones with, they knew a lot about what I do in marketing and branding space. And so when they knew that I was looking for my next role, they were like, why don't you just do your own thing? Like, you should just do your own thing, girl. And I was like, no way. I was not trying to hear that. I was too much into that career space. Not that that's a bad thing, that's just a different path, but I really was not thinking entrepreneurship. I was just so focused on let's find the next thing. And it wasn't until a good friend / mentor said, please, for the 50 billionth time, would you do your own thing? And if you will do your own thing, I'm going to be your first client and tell me what to pay you. And so who says no to money in between
Wow.
jobs? Like, I know. So this is probably the MBA wrong way to start a business, but I was really like, I kind of viewed it like a random side project, like, oh, this isn't going to be a big deal. This is just something, like an exercise, like a fun project while I'm waiting to, for roles to open up. Cause that was like November of 2016. And
Mhm.
all my HR friends were like, Andrew, hang in there. Cause, budgets don't open up with corporations till like mid-January. So you're going to have to wait for your next role anyway. So I was like, right, I can make it through the holidays. I can hang in there. And so this popped up and I was like, I could throw up a website, blah, 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 and get some social media together and whip a plan together and figure out something with pricing and blah, blah, blah. So I did. And didn't think too much of it. I was like, yeah, it'll be fun, but it'll just be side money is kind of how I thought of it. And that was November. And in December, another friend said, what are you up to? And I was like, I'm looking for my next role, but I also started this side business and I've got one client. And they were like, well, I needed you yesterday. Here's my 5 businesses. Tell me what you can do with them.
Wow.
And that was the thing that started paying the bills. Really, it wasn't comfortable. It wouldn't have been like super comfy living with just those 2 small clients. But that was a thing that made me say, oh, maybe this can be a legitimate new path. Let me just a little bit pay attention here. So in January, and I promise I'm not going to make this too much longer, but in January, when those roles did open up and they were awesome, amazing, they were global corporate, all the things that I would want. And it just so happened that it ended up not working out with this one particular company I wanted, Intercontinental Hotel Group. They're a fantastic brand. And it would have been awesome. But at the last minute, an internal candidate popped up and they were like, we're so sorry. We really wanted to work with you, blah, blah, blah. But internal people take precedence. And in that moment, Ricardo, I just had so much peace, like it was no sweat at all because I think this entrepreneurship stuff was starting to prove itself to me. And I was like, right, this is starting to look a little more interesting anyway. I think I want to check this out. And it was one of those kind of faith moments where, you're being shown 2 paths. You could either take this one, you red or blue pill, right? And um, so that was kind of like for me, God saying to me, you can go this path. It's there for you. If you want to go back in the corporate world, you still got it. People still want you. But if you would trust me and take this other path, this might lead somewhere amazing. And that was 5 years ago. And I'm so glad for the choice that I made. I would not trade it for the world, not for all the heartaches and challenges and everything else that comes with this space. It was the best decision ever.
Congratulations. The first steps are always the harder ones, and you've stepped right into it. And 5 years after, you're still loving it. So that's really awesome. So we're going to be talking about a tool today that you brought to my attention, and I figured, yeah, we should talk about it. And I didn't know it or know about it before we started talking about it. So I'd love for us to dive into it and talk about what is this tool. So let's give it a shot. What exactly is this tool? Give us the whole 9 yards, if you may, about this piece of tool here.
Yeah. So this tool I love so much, and it's called TubeBuddy.
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 Okay.
Yep. Tube like YouTube and buddy like it's your friend, which is true.
Mhm.
So TubeBuddy, it does have a freebie version, so you can try it out for free at first. And of course, you get better stuff if you actually pay. And so I actually looked up and got like the premium version for free. It's called like their legendary status or whatever, because I know a guy who worked there and he hooked me up because he was like, I'm just gonna give you the awesome access. And I was like, thanks, that's lovely. I love that. So, but it's very nominal, in any case, if you were going to pay for it yourself. But try out the free version first. And this is for the people who use YouTube. And I highly, highly recommend YouTube for business, just like you use, a podcast for your outreach. You can use YouTube in tandem with your podcast. I don't know if you already do that, but you can use them together. And this tool, what I mainly use it for is keyword searching for your titles and for the tags that go with that video. So when even before now, I used to do this backwards. I used to think of a video, make it, and put it up there, and then afterwards go find a title and put in all the descriptions and stuff, and kind of just make up some keywords to go with it and hope and pray that was good enough. And in the beginning, wasn't even putting in keywords at all. I wasn't putting any tags in there at all, because I just didn't know to do that. And so, so now I kind of do it in reverse. I look up TubeBuddy first to discover a title to create the video around. And what's great about that is not only does it help you very easily, it's very elementary to use. You research a title, top 10 ways to improve your podcast, for example, and you put that in, you hit the search button in the keyword tool, and just like a little, odometer, it goes from red to yellow to green. So red is horrendous. It's got lots of competition, too many people searching for it, better videos out there. Yellow's in the middle. Green is the best, and it even has the very, very best is called excellent. So you can see how your title could rank very easily. So it's not rocket science. You just do the research, it's there. And just like you research the title and find an excellent one, you can research the tags and find an excellent one. So what's so awesome about that is you're creating content around very searchable terms. And I know I'm preaching to the choir because you know all about this, but what's great about that is not only can you create an awesome video around it, but if it's worth it to you, you can create multiple forms of content. So you can turn that video into a blog. And that's likely going to be a well-searched blog, especially if no one else is really, really hitting it hard out there, that particular title. And same thing for your social media content, it's probably going to make for some pretty cool content to make around that same topic. So, so that's how I use it beyond YouTube, is just, yes, definitely for optimizing your YouTube videos and your title and your tags that go with it so that you can rank, and search, but also making it double for you and using it on blogs and using it for posts and all that good stuff. So, and even like your email content, you just keep going with it if you want. So that's an awesome tool. I think it's real easy to use, and there's a freebie version, so it's a no-brainer. And if you haven't gotten into YouTube, I'm not going to say shame on you because there's so much to be getting into, but but definitely look into it if you're not afraid of video, because it's the most engaging content ever. And if you can get in front of a camera, you can really win in your niche in your business. So yeah, that's my favorite tool I wanted to share.
Awesome. No, that's really awesome. I love that, because it takes out a lot of the work that you'd probably do elsewhere if you can use TubeBuddy. So talk to me a little about that. Obviously, if you want to just do videos in YouTube, or your business videos on YouTube, who exactly would be ideal users of TubeBuddy?
Yeah, anybody who creates YouTube videos, but particularly for our small biz owners, I know a lot of them have varying perceptions of what YouTube is for. There's people who are like, oh, you want to be a YouTuber? It means you're like a teenage college kid with no, volumes of time on your hands and nothing better to do with yourself. And, so I know a lot of business owners are like, I don't have time for YouTube. But I will say, and I'm gonna get off my soapbox after this, but I will say that the business owners who take the time to create content like this on YouTube, great podcasts, wonderful blogs, whatever your strength area is, when you invest your time in creating the great content that people are looking for, your target is looking for, it's so golden. It's such a wonderful lead generation tool for you when you know what you're doing with it. Like, and it's again not rocket science. It's just being thoughtful about what people need out there. But the people, back to your original question, the people who would use it, I would say definitely your small biz owners who are looking to create valuable content for their target. And I'm going to say B2C and B2B,
Mhm.
and even your B2G, your business to government organizations. There is a place for you on YouTube, because just like people Google everything else, Google owns YouTube. So, that's people might not think it's the right fit, but it actually is a unique place to create content. So I'm going to say small biz owners, but also your personal branders fit in there too.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, it's if you don't mind getting in front of the camera, like you said, and just talking to your audience, that's pretty cool. You could also get folks who can do it on your behalf as well. But if you're running a business, it's like you said, we don't want to say shame on you because there's so many things that you could possibly be doing, but you should take a look at it. And TubeBuddy, you're saying, would really be your buddy to really help you to make the best of this, right?
Be your
Um,
buddy. Yeah, exactly.
so how is it different though from I'm not familiar with all the TubeBuddy alternatives out there, but I'm sure you might be. How is it really different from what exists today? This podcast is sponsored by MeisterTask, the most intuitive task manager on the web. MeisterTask is an easy-to-use project management tool. Makes it easy and fun, colorful to get all your projects managed in one place. As an entrepreneur, I use MeisterTask to help me manage all of my projects. I can drag and drop different tasks. I can assign key people to the task. I can set deadlines and schedules and enjoy just beautiful colors while I do that. So if you are interested in trying MeisterTask, go to meistertask.com/DMT tools. That's meistertask.com/DMT tools. And you can sign up for a free trial when you upgrade to the Pro plan. So get started for free today and invite your team members and get productive together.
And honestly, I haven't used the other ones, but I'm aware of some of the other names. If you want to check out and compare, I think its main competitor is a product called vidIQ, like video, vidIQ.
Mm-hmm.
I think it does pretty similar things. I just was connected to TubeBuddy because the people I follow use it, and so many of them do, that I just was connected in that world of network of people who all use TubeBuddy. So for me, it wasn't even a competitor choice at that point, which is a good story for branding. But there were no
Yeah.
competitor options for me. I was just like, it's just going to be TubeBuddy, and it doesn't matter about the alternatives. But granted, I also don't pay for my for my nice status. So if I had to pay for it, maybe I would look into the alternatives. But to contrast and compare, I would check out vidIQ. Um, and I hear good things about that one as well. I just think TubeBuddy is just so easy, and not hard to figure out. So I think it's easy and awesome to use.
Okay, and that's key. That's key in today's world. You've got to be able to have something you can use easily, quickly, and just kind of get on with it. And TubeBuddy does that, then that's the big difference. So let's talk about some practical stuff now that you can actually do with TubeBuddy. So say you have a podcast, or say you have products that you want to showcase at your retail store, or give me an example of how someone, a small business owner, maybe a doctor or an attorney, how could they really leverage YouTubes? It's kind of a use case I'm asking for.
Yeah. So, for example, we'll take your doctor example. Say you're a, and I'm just using this because I have a client like this. So, say you're a Black physician in the area, and your favorite ideal patients are the people who are looking for a competent, holistic Black physician in these zip codes in this area, blah blah blah. So TubeBuddy can help you find those content gaps, as I call them. Um, and luckily for doctors, there's not a lot of doctors putting out great content, to be honest. They're too busy making money and all that. So it wouldn't be too difficult, but you could use a tool like TubeBuddy to see content gaps, and especially for your area. So if you know people are searching, for example, Black physician holistic Marietta, uh, and that's a term where no one really comes up that seems good enough, other than the millions of doctor pages that show up when you're looking for a doctor. You can be the one physician's office, whatever you are, primary care, OBGYN, whatever your specialty is, that starts showing up in search. So people love that. How much do you stand out amongst all these generic directory websites with no pictures and no colorful information beyond a name and a title? How much do you stand out when an actual video pops up, or a blog, because you made the video and you made a blog associated with it, and that got crawled all over and found? How much more do you stand out just because you created something awesome? So, in addition to those search terms in general, making videos with those search terms in them, you could also think of like your typical problems people are searching for in addition to that. So, how do I find a doctor? How do I talk to my doctor differently so they are speaking to me from a cultural perspective? Um, you know, Maybe there's not content around that. So maybe you create the listicle top 5 tips for speaking to your doctor effectively, um, when you're a Black patient, for example. And there's nobody else making that content, but people are searching for it, and you know that because you use this tool. That's the kind of stuff that you can start searching around for and creating content for, that makes sense for your target, and that will work for you over time. So I wouldn't say this would not be for your fast, like I need money today people. This is not really like a fast type of turnaround, but for the long game, if I'm going to be in this for 5-ish more years, um, YouTube is a long game. And so it's worth it to make great, what we call evergreen content, that is just going to always be good. And people are always going to be searching for it. So that's how you can use that tool to win in this space.
Absolutely. That's awesome. So talking about integration now, like, can the tool be used with other tools or integrated where you can kind of reduce your time spent? Because, there's so many different tools, right? And we're not trying to get everybody to use all the tools that are out there, but how do you create more efficiency between utilization of the tool? So can it be integrated with any other tools at all?
That is a wonderful question. I don't know of a way that it integrates with anything else. But then again, YouTube is such an interesting, unique space anyway.
Mhm.
So I would just say to the efficient side of it is being able to use it across multiple content pieces. So, that same video title you made also makes for great, blog content, and also could be chopped up into 10 different social media posts spread out over time.
Yeah.
So that's the best efficiency use I could share for that.
No, that's awesome, because that's repurposing, right? So you can repurpose that one piece and redistribute it across several spaces. So that's pretty awesome. Now, I know you mentioned earlier that it's a free tool. So for those persons who would like to go check it out, is there a URL you can go? Well, pardon me, it's not free; it's a freemium tool. So you can sign up for free, but you can upgrade later. What's the URL? Where can we go to sign up to take a look at it?
Yeah, this is the part where I wish I had an affiliate link to share, but because I don't, I'm just going to give you the straight link. So you can just go to tubebuddy.com.
Mhm,
Um, and it's so easy to walk. It walks you right through how to connect up your YouTube. It's nothing scary about it. All you do
mhm,
is to your YouTube, and then you'll see it pop up once it's installed. It'll pop up on your browser on your YouTube. So now, even when you're searching just random YouTube videos in your space, if you were ever curious about um, how that title performs, if you're watching a video for a competitor and you're like, I wonder how this video really performed. Now that same data is going to start popping up for your competitors so you can see, all that stuff. But I digress. It's a really cool tool. Again, I can't say enough good things about it, but yeah, just tubebuddy.com is how you can find it.
nice. So, folks, you heard it for yourself. Go to tubebuddy.com and sign up for a trial. Test it out. We'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this. Now, I know, Andrea, staying in business for years is not easy, and you've done 5 already, and I'm sure you can attest to a number of things. So, we want to know, how have you done it, and what would you say has been the best thing that happened since?
Oh, the best thing that's happened. So, how have I done it? I think it's just determination not to go back into corporate world. So,
Yeah.
not that, like I do miss some things about corporate world and, the camaraderie and team building and all that cool stuff, but you can build all that in entrepreneur world. And so for
Hmm.
me, I think it's determination. And one thing, a good friend slash mentor, another one in this space told me is is faith is really important. And I didn't understand that going into this. But being in it for 5 years now, I totally get that. So it is an act of faith to keep a business going when you're at the helm of it. And there are many times where it really you will just question your whole life, like why did I do this? and and you have to have an amount of faith to keep with it. So I'll definitely add the faith piece, and I'll also say, not operating in silos. So, it's very, very easy in entrepreneur world, and I'm sure you've been there at some point, but it's very easy to be in your own lane. Nobody around you understands where you are. Your family doesn't get it. Your people, spouses, significant others don't get it. You're the only one there in that space, and it can be very lonely. So it's good to get out of that silo and network with other entrepreneurs who understand something about the struggle that you face and the challenges you face.
Yeah.
Um, that camaraderie goes a long way. So, having that network is real important. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's awesome. Isolation is not a good path to creating any kind of success in entrepreneurship. So you've got to let yourself be around other folks and connect. And so I'm always grateful for relationships because they're like stepstones to your success, right? But I always have questions when I'm wrapping up around sort of well, first of all, is there anything that I didn't ask you that you wanted to share with us today?
Um, Anything you didn't ask me? No, I think these are great questions. I think they're wonderful. I A point of good news that I can share is this is like a kind of fun random win. So I've never in my 5 years of business, and not even in the pandemic, of which now is going into our third year,
Hmm.
um, I've never gone for the grants and loans and things associated with the pandemic and otherwise. I just didn't. I just felt like I didn't need it. And, some of those things you pay back. And I was like, I don't need to do that. That's how I felt. And now, so a friend of ours encouraged me to go for this little grant. And so I just got it. It's a small Black female business kind of a grant, and it's associated with Meta, and which is now the new Facebook. So Um,
Congratulations. That's awesome.
yeah, I'm very happy about that. So that's fun win.
Cool. So Black female entrepreneurs who are listening, or female entrepreneurs perhaps, who might want to check that out. So you said, who's the grantor? I mean, who is the
It's
organization?
called Backing Black Business Small Business Grants. It's through an agency called Reimagine Main Street.
Got
So
it.
they'll a $10,000 grant. It's pretty decent. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, folks, if you want to check that out, that's some nice good news. I always have questions that I thought I could kind of ask. And I love to know what books you're reading or have read that you think could benefit our audience. And yeah, what podcasts have you been listening to that you think is really cool that you'd like to share?
Yeah. So one of my very favorite books that I keep rereading because it's filled with so many good nuggets and stuff that makes sense and that you should really try to implement is a book that sounds odd to hear, but it's actually, I feel, a solid business book, particularly for solopreneurs and people just starting out. Um, it's a book called The 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. So I think you might have heard that one. So
Mhm.
solid. It's so solid. And, who doesn't want the idea of a 4 hour work week, So just really solid principles about getting help, for the first time, getting staff on board for the first time, and how do you build something that can run without you and all of that. So I really love that book. Um, Podcast, I'm a big fan of Smart Passive Income, which also sounds like maybe cheesy, but it's a solid marketing and branding podcast for the
Mhm.
space. And that's by my friend Pat Flynn. He does a great job with that. And I also like NPR's How I Built This by Guy Raz.
Mhm.
Um, they do great stories around like how did Sarah Blakely with Spanx start that up and what was her story. And they've covered a lady named Kendra Scott who had a small jewelry business that, you know, got picked up by Belks and Nordstrom's and places like that, and it's just gone wild. And um, recently, I just heard one by the guy who started Lululemon. Way back before athleisure was cool to wear anywhere. Gym clothes used to be ugly to look at in the 90s and before, and now it's nothing to wear your little yoga pants around wherever. This was one of the guys that helped make all that happen, so it's cool to hear those stories, and so those are some of my faves.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing those. I love the 4 hour work week, by the way. Tim is pretty cool to come up with that. Well, we're always looking for creators and master users of tools. We're now talking about systems and frameworks and anything that they would have used to help their own business to grow, and would love to share that with other businesses who are up and coming. We'd love to have any recommendations. Who do you think should be our next guest for a podcast?
I have so many, but honestly, so many of them, I would look at the MCAT committee, that we're a part of. Audrey Bell Kearney is a podcast guru, so she loves this space too. She's spoken at Podfest a couple times and um, loves everything. She just got into the NFT world, so if anybody knows fun techie tools, definitely Audrey's one. Tomei Shannon is real heavy into social media, so she really has a lot of fun tools she likes to use for that. And besides that, a guy named Lamar Tyler was our keynote speaker our first year for Brand Tech Day, um, and he is certainly full of lots of tools. He leads a entrepreneurial audience of tens of thousands. It's crazy, and puts on big conferences. So I know he hears about all kinds of tools, uses them himself. So those are three, at least, if among many that you could
No,
talk to.
that's awesome.
Great for this.
That's awesome. No, we'd love to have that, and certainly, we're going to make a big push with the MCAT guys to have you all come on the podcast one at a time so we can chat about the things that you do to be successful. This is awesome, Andrea. Thank you so much. I appreciate you stopping by and chatting with us. It's not the last time. We would love to hear from you again in a couple of weeks. We'll circle back, see how you're doing, and maybe get you on here for another show. But thank you. I really appreciate you stopping by.
My pleasure, Ricardo. And you should come on my channel sometime and I can reverse interview you. So
oh yeah, for sure.
Cool
So I'm absolutely in. Count me in on that one.
All right, cool.
That was Andrea talking about TubeBuddy. You should definitely check it out, be a part of the freemium community, and see if TubeBuddy is, if it makes sense for you to use, folks. I really learned a lot, and I hope you did as well. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, leave us a rating, and give us a review. I would love to hear from you. So, folks, until next time, don't forget to choose a tool to help you rule your growth. We'll talk soon.